time for Cigar Talk, the fastest growing cigar show in the nation. Whether you're a new cigar enthusiast or a cigar aficionado, we have something for everyone, bringing you the best interviews, cigar reviews, and weekly giveaways. So grab yourself a cigar.
It's time to light 'em up.
Welcome back, Cigar Talk. I'm your host, Rob Jones. We've got co-host Bryant Falconer in the studio. How you doing today, Bryant?
Hey, man, I'm doing good.
Awesome, man. So how's your week been?
Great. Great. For what it's worth, great.
Good, man.
Ability to be at home and take care of business and still have my employees working and making a check so they can take care of this stuff, man. I feel great. I thank the Lord for it. I do.
Yeah, that's a real blessing during this time.
Ooh, yes.
So
yes.
let's talk about what we're smoking right quick.
Ahead.
I'm smoking the shocker alert.
Shocker.
McAuliffe Medallia 6x46. I mean, it's hard to beat.
You went over there to that to your humidifier and opened the door and it just jumped in your hand. It's
No,
just like automatic.
Well, it's like I open the door, I search the humidor, just like if I walk into a shop, and then I always go right back to it. Because it's like in my mind, I'm like, do I want this? Do I want that? And then I'm like, screw it. I know I love this.
Come on.
So, and there's certain sticks in my humidor that I only smoke if I'm drinking a certain bourbon or scotch or coffee, or even in my mood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This stick is any time I want to smoke a stick.
It's that everyday 100.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's sometimes it's embarrassing because people are like, "Hey, what are you smoking?" And I'm like, you know,
and they like, okay, yeah, they just walk on away. Yeah. I feel you, bro. I feel you.
So you smoking today, man?
Man, I'm smoking Aroma Craft and Temperance Envy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. I haven't seen you smoke a lot of those.
I know.
That's a good stick.
It's a great stick, and I'm loving it right now. This medium profile is hitting me real good, man. Nice little pepper, woodsy. I'm just like, and I got a small stack of dimes.
Yeah, that's a real good construction, and that is a really good Connecticut if you haven't had one.
Yes, it's like you said, for this moment right now, it's the perfect stick for it.
Yeah.
It's the perfect stick. And with the coffee that I'm drinking, it's just like it's highlighting the taste profile of it. So
you know what kind of coffee you're drinking?
I don't even know.
That's Sumatra from the leaf. And you know, the leaf is basically out of coffee that's for sale.
Yes, it is.
So you're getting a little taste of what I have left. Yeah, I'm on the verge.
I got one bag of Sumatra left and one bag of Kenya left.
Oh. So you got 2 bags.
Yeah.
I'm on my last bag.
See, it's not just me drinking anymore. My wife is falling in love with
me too.
And I'm like, oh, man, that means that's an extra 2 cups gone every day. I'm like, but I enjoy it, man. I truly appreciate that she loves a coffee that I love, because she was a Folgers person at first, and I wasn't having that. I wasn't going nowhere near it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going anywhere near it. Nope.
Yeah, you know, once you get spoiled to good coffee, it's
can't go
hard.
Back. Oh, yes.
Now, I can't say that because I never drank Folgers.
Oh, so you...
I started with the leaf coffee.
I got you.
I never had coffee until then, so I don't understand that. But my wife is like, yeah, there's no way to go back.
Bro, my sophomore year in college at Carbondale, man, like I said, I was pre-med and playing football. I was a coffee fanatic, man. I had to have it because
I didn't start drinking coffee till 2017.
I had to stay awake, man. You got practice all day long and classes all day long. Then you got all these courses. You got to go to these tutoring sessions and all. Man, I was a coffee fanatic and cool cigarettes.
Cool cigarettes.
I
never could do the menthol thing.
I couldn't do anything but menthol.
Yeah.
My grandfather smoked Viceroys.
I don't even know what that is.
Dude, those are old man World War II cigarettes. Dude, my first try, I tried one. I said, nope, I ain't never smoking cigarettes in my life. And then I got in college. I was like, oh, I need something to help stay awake. And I got introduced to them cools and coffee, Folgers. Man, I got to the point it was like I could just take a spoonful of Folgers, put it in my mouth, and then drink water.
Oh, man.
I had to have it. I had to be awake, man. I had to be awake. And, you know, with football practice, you know, on the college level, they're not playing with you.
No.
They're not playing with you. And then I was pre-med. I couldn't play around in my grades either. And then I did.
Right?
And I did.
Oh, so just so everyone knows, me and Bryant last night hung out on a virtual cigar lounge
Yes,
with
sir.
some guys last night. That was a blast, man.
Yes, it was.
It was fun talking to everyone, especially because we're all spread out. In
Yes.
fact, Schmidtface from Australia was on.
It was dark everywhere in the United States, from New York to California.
Right.
And he's sitting there. First of all, he was sitting in daylight.
Right.
Second of all, he was sitting on
palm trees.
Yeah, palm trees behind it. Then it was Saturday.
Right.
I was like, dude, send me the lottery numbers.
Right.
Send me the lottery numbers, man. I'll share. But that was cool. It was real fun. It really was, man. It was real fun. Sitting there with you guys, man, and having that opportunity because we couldn't sit together and, just talking the jokes.
The jokes are fun. The people are fun.
Yeah.
And the cigars are great.
They were great.
I don't know if you realize this, but it started at 9, and we didn't close up shop till 2 a.m.
I left, what was it, 11?
No. It was almost midnight.
It was almost midnight when I
Yeah.
left. Okay.
Because you smoked 3 cigars.
3 cigars.
That's 3 hours.
God, yeah.
And I say this. I said I smoked 6, but 2 of those,
Oh, yeah. One of them was
Were-
messed up. It tunneled on
well,
you.
one
Yeah.
of them tunneled and one was plugged. And I was like, I'm not
Yeah,
dealing with that.
yeah.
So, I mean, I love hanging out with those guys. And it's cool just to see who's going to drop by, say
Yes.
hello. They may not, stay the whole time. And then some people, they show up at the beginning and they don't leave till it's over.
Then you have the hot tub crew.
Yeah, right? Hey, Cigar Man Official. And they're
Dude.
swimming in the dark.
Dude.
Yeah, I don't even know if we want to talk about that.
No.
We're not going to touch that.
We're going to leave that alone and that joke alone.
Okay, I got you.
Both of them.
So,
Oh, man. But it was great. It was actually a good end of the week.
yeah, and it was cool. I know you noticed, but Scott Fritz,
Yes.
he was the first one on.
He was?
And the last one to leave.
Yeah, and I sat there and I had to keep sending. I sent you a text, and then I hit you on Messenger. Man, let me in.
You know what's funny?
What?
Is I went into settings and I figured out how now I get a doorbell sound when someone comes in.
Did you do that before or after?
I did it after.
Oh.
I didn't know until last night after that had already
So
happened.
now
for
the doorbell will be ringing.
Right now,
Okay.
and then what's funny is even when I made that setting and I'd hear that sound, I was like, "What the heck is that?" Because we hadn't heard that sound
Yeah,
before. I was like, "Something's going on."
That's cool, man.
But anyway, it was a blast. I'm sure I hear people are doing that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And my apologies, I did not send a direct invite to Mo.
Oh,
Mo, I posted it online, but he didn't see it on Facebook, and I didn't post it on Instagram. And he sent me a message. He was like, "Oh, you didn't want me to come."
I was to say it's going to be an argument.
Oh. So Mo, I apologize. I'll make sure I send you a private one-on-one invitation.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
So, who we got coming up today? Oh, we have Louis
Yes.
from Casa Cuevas Cigars.
Casa Cuevas.
You know, those guys, I found out about those guys really through Smoking Dad Cigars. Now, you know Tim and
Yep.
Kyle over there. And anyway, they were telling me about them. We had Louis on the show. So that interview's coming up a little bit later. Great interview, great history, great story, man. 4th generation tobacco.
4th generation anything is
Yeah.
That's an accomplishment.
Well, think about that. Well, you know what? I always want to tell you the insights, but you know what? I'll let you listen to the interview. But it was very interesting. I found his story and his family story very interesting. It was just all what they overcame in their lifetime within those countries, and the tobacco industry is pretty amazing.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir.
anyway, let's talk about our sponsor.
Most definitely. McAuliffe. 4 to 42, baby.
4 to 42.
4 to 42. No matter what your palate is, how new or how progressive or how like Cigar Man Official, a great cigar smoker you are,
Right.
there's something for you in there the entire way, man.
Absolutely. And they have the ambassador program. If you're not an ambassador, just pause the show
Right now.
Pause the show. Look down in the show notes. There's a link that says McAuliffe. Click on that. You can go over. You become an ambassador. They send you a challenge coin that is a metal coin with
Yes,
your
sir.
own personal number on it, and they send you a handwritten certificate. But you become part of the family.
Yes, sir.
And I've been a part of this family now for over a year now.
You got you got what, 3 months on me?
No, I think I only got about 6 weeks on you.
No, it's more than 6 weeks.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well,
Because you had been in there a minute before I was able to find it. You told me, said, stop. Go, just like you told them, stop. Go right here and sign up. And that's what I did.
So anyway, go by, sign up.
Yes, sir.
They have a Facebook group that's just for the ambassadors.
Yes.
Not only do they create a great community with the ambassadors, but look at all the great content they're producing now too.
Man, it's
So,
just,
I mean,
it's a family, and it's not just the family that owns and runs the company. It's the ambassadors, the constituents, everybody that's a part of McCalla, from someone going to the B&M and buying one to Al. Is all a part. You're a part.
absolutely,
You
man.
are a part, an integral part on top of that, because they love what you say. They talk to you. It's not, those carbon copy, cookie cutter remarks.
oh yeah.
Dan will get on and talk to you for a while.
Yeah.
You like, okay, I got to go.
Good seeing you, Dan.
Yeah.
Gotta go.
But that's what I love, man.
I actually talked to Dan last night.
Okay.
And I told him I was smoking a Medallia and 6x46. And
No
he was
brainer.
like, well, good. That leaves more Toros for me.
That's cool,
But
man.
anyway, so let's talk about what we've been smoking. I know that you're going to talk about some of the cigars you smoked last night on the virtual herf, aren't you?
Most definitely.
Because you smoked some good sticks last night.
Most definitely.
And hey, did you notice? I couldn't even see the cigar you were smoking last night, and I nailed it.
100%. That's what got me. I was like, how did this do? Because the same way with you in the Medallia,
Exactly.
people know me in the Sumatra.
So we're sitting there, and I said, "Hey, Bryant, what are you smoking?" And he's pretty much in the dark.
Yeah. I
And
loved that way it looked last night.
And I said, "Let me guess, you're smoking a McAuliffe Sumatra," and he was like, "Oh."
Hey, I mean, it's a great stick for me. I love that stick, man.
No, it is a great
no matter,
stick.
it's my everyday 100. Like you said, certain moods, certain opportunities, certain mindsets. I smoke one or the other, but I know I can go to that when I'm gonna get a perfect taste, a perfect burn, perfect smoke, and just take me through whatever I went through. I come out on the other end.
Right. And it's great to have a go-to stick.
Oh yeah. Oh
And it's great to have a good go-to
Go-to
stick.
stick, yeah.
That's not like crazy expensive. You know what I mean? It's not hard to get.
No,
So,
no.
that's why I love the Medallia. It's readily available. It's $9 and
it's perfect for you.
right.
It's perfect for you. Last night I started off with that Baca Pit, Aromacraft Baca Pygmy.
No, I don't know that one.
It's just a smaller Baca. It's small.
Oh.
Dude, I got one in here. I'm actually gonna give you this.
No,
one.
you
I
don't
got a few. I went to the
right,
leaf
all
and I
right.
got me a few. And it's a small. It's a quick smoke. It's a quick smoke.
You know what? I appreciate this because here's the thing about this size cigar. I hardly ever buy one.
Yeah.
But I love having one
Because it's that quick stick.
when I need a quick stick. I don't ever have one.
Yeah.
So
Now you have one.
Yes. So what ends up happening is you either waste half a stick
Yes.
or you go without.
Yep.
And so thank you. I appreciate
That's perfect,
it,
man. That Baca Pygmy was right on time, and you know the Baca taste profile. Only difference is the size, man. It's just a quick stick. It was
Now-
perfect.
Now, the regular Baca, what size is that? I don't remember.
Corona.
Is it?
It's
So,
big.
is it the same ring gauge?
Nope, it's
Or is it the Gordo?
Gordo? It's a little bit. It's bigger, but
Because
the
what I
reason
would
I
like
got-
to see, I would like to see them do this same ring gauge, but a 6-inch.
Ooh.
You see what I'm seeing here?
yeah, I see exactly what you're saying.
You see what I mean?
Yes, I see exactly what you're saying.
Because they make this in this size.
But
And you
Baca
guys
does-
can't see I'm holding this up, but they do make the Corona size in the Medallia.
Yeah.
But if I'm smoking a Medallia, I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah,
You know what I
sitting
mean?
back, you sitting back chilling with the Medallia.
Right. If I'm going to smoke a Medallia, I don't ever get the Corona size because I'm not going anywhere.
I got you.
It's like a Snicker bar for me.
You're not yourself until you have it.
You're not going anywhere. Oh, see, you're going new commercial.
Yeah.
I'm going old commercial. You remember those?
Yeah, but you still not yourself until you have one and your coffee.
Right. I got to have the coffee.
Yeah. My other one was a Killer Bee by Blackwork Studio.
Now, I'm thinking I've heard of that. Okay, Blackwork Studio. Is that the same one that
Jay gave me this?
Blackwork Studio. Now, what other cigars do they make? Do you know?
It's the only one I've ever had.
So, see.
Oh, they have a Hornet. They have a Hornet and the Killer Bee. It's easy. What do we have?
Oh, well, yeah, we got Google.
Yep.
But I was trying to think. I know I've heard of that company, but I don't know if I'm confusing it with the company that's like out of Texas that also is associated with Dissident.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey, while you're looking that up, you remember when we were on the herf last night and my friend Tim was telling the story of the White Castle? It was so funny, dude. Every time he would get to like the climactic part of the story, he would freeze. He'd be like, and then.
And he'd have this look on his face. And we all be sitting there like, okay, you going to say something?
And he was like, and then he'd come back and give us the ending. And it was like, oh.
Yeah, the anticipation was way better.
No. That's not who I thought it was. Okay, cool.
Well, anyway, the Killer Bee is great.
Oh, now, I had this cigar last week, the Boondock.
The Boondock?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I didn't know Blackwork Studio.
Yeah, and, that's from Boondock Saints. Mm-hmm. Great movie, by the way.
But this Killer Bee was tight, man. I had to say it took me back hood. It was tight.
Nice,
peppery, good woodsy, man. Hint of chocolate. But they said it was supposed to have lemon in it. I never tasted the lemon, but man, that pepper was so all the way through. I retrohaled 4 times.
Nice.
And each time it hit me, I was like, yeah, yeah. That's. I would have to tell Jay that was a home run he gave me then, man. That was a home run he gave me, man. I truly appreciated that.
Now, was that for your birthday?
I think so. I think that was his gift to me for my birthday.
Nice.
Man. I truly appreciate it. I truly did because it was a great stick. He told me just let me know how you like it. I loved it. I loved it. I will get more.
Very nice.
My last one was a Punch Knuckle Buster, the one that we had talked about before. I finally smoked it.
And what'd you think?
It's a good medium to me. It took me on a nice little ride, but it wasn't what I expected. I'm an egg roll man.
Now, first of all, clarify, it's a $5 stick.
It is.
So,
and for $5, you got a good stick.
Yeah, and here's where I was when I smoked it. It was not the egg roll.
Nope.
Which I don't think there'll ever be another egg roll.
I got you.
But that being said, for $5, it's a good $5.
Yeah, you're not gonna waste your money.
It was for $5. It's a good steak.
Unless you're in Australia with Schmidt face and you're gonna spend like
50.
2,500.
Yeah, that was crazy. What do you say? Like $1,500 on a kilo of tobacco
per kilo, 1,500 tax.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That blew my mind. I was like, no, wait a minute.
Now, I don't know how much a kilo weighs. I mean, what is that compared to on a pound? Did he say that was like 2.5 pounds? Hey, we also have Google for that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the money conversion, the tax, and man, I was like, you know what? I love the people in Australia, but man, that tax is something. I feel for those guys.
Yep. Kilo is 2.2 pounds.
See, I was pretty close.
Yep.
So, yeah, so 2.5 pounds or
of tobacco.
Less than 2.5 pounds, $1,500 in taxes.
Taxes. And then he said it depends on what board agent is there, because he said he got a shipment that came in that they were expecting to pay tax on, and all he paid was what he paid.
It's like hitting the lotto.
Yeah, he said it was like hitting the lottery. He was looking for those extra fees, and they didn't hit. He was like, whoa.
Yeah, 2 boxes for $80.
Yes, and they shot on through. Man, that would drive me crazy.
Well, dude, I told you I've got 2 shipments to my daughter. One was made 6 weeks ago, and one was made 3 weeks ago, and neither one of them have got there yet. Now we can track them from the United States all the way down to Australia into customs, and then we're blind.
And it's done. Yeah.
And it's like it might be 2 weeks. It might be. I mean, maybe we'll never see it again. I don't know. Anyway, this week I've smoked some interesting stogies this week. One is the Don Pepin Series Double J Maduro.
Ooh.
Good stick.
How was that?
It was really good. I had not seen that one before, and a friend of mine had a couple, and he gave me one, and he told me that I would enjoy it, and he was spot on.
That's cool.
And so thank you for that. I traded him a couple of cigars.
What'd you trade?
Well, I traded him one of those knuckle busters,
Okay.
which was just a bonus, and the other one was a medallia. So he came out.
He came out.
You know, because I didn't know what level of cigar I was getting.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what you gave up for.
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to give you a 1960 or 1964, but I will give you a medallia and just a bonus.
So you came out way better than the Houston Texans, huh?
You're right. Well, what's going on with them?
They gave up, what's the receiver's name?
Hopkins.
Hopkins. He went to the Cardinals, and they got the Cardinals running back Johnson in return. People have been talking about that for you. Didn't see that? Oh, you froze. You look like Tim.
Dude,
You look like Tim now.
they gave up Hopkins?
Yes, sir.
Dude,
Yes, sir.
do you know how many running backs I could pull in to fill in a hole? Dude, come on. Dude, now, and we know the NFL is a passing game.
Today, it's all about passing.
Right. I mean, it's great if you have a running game, but if you don't have a passing game,
You're done.
why would you give up what I consider to be a top 4 wide receiver?
With heart. Dude got heart to the point where you like, okay,
hey,
calm down, man.
Like, to me, I think he is just as good, if not better, than what's the wide receiver out? Jones over in Atlanta.
Julio.
Yeah.
Julio.
I mean, Julio is a bigger
Yeah, and a
athlete,
beast, too.
but Hopkins makes all the hard catches, and I think he's at least as fast, if not faster. So that blows me away.
Yeah, they traded him to the Arizona Cardinals for David Johnson, the running back. And David Johnson is on the other side. He on the other side of his career. So people don't. I'm trying to understand what they did with that. I'm
Yeah.
really trying to understand where they were going.
I
with it.
hadn't heard that. I haven't been keeping up with sports because there's not much going on, but I guess that's one that slipped by me on the radar.
Here's the
That's
thing:
crazy.
you got a quarterback that is on the verge of being on that other level. The more time he gets in there,
you're either going there,
Oh, yeah.
or you're not.
But see, that's a quarterback that can do that, and you take his number one man away from him.
yeah,
Because he knew no matter what, when as they say, the stuff hit the fan. Find number, what's his number, 10?
I thought it was like 19.
19, something like that. Well, just find DeAndre Hopkins,
Yeah.
whatever area he's in, and put it there.
When you see the hair flying, just roll
it that way.
general area.
Throw in that general area.
Yeah, I
man.
that's a shocker, man.
Yeah, you came out
Now,
way
did they
better.
give him anything else, or was it just 1 for 1?
It said,
Because that doesn't seem like a fair trade. And I mean, what year is Hopkins? He's probably like year 6, huh? And what year is their running back?
he on the back end, man. He been there for a minute, dude.
Because, and you look at this, I mean, for a running back, usually your best years are your first 4 to 5 years.
And that was
on
back,
your wide receiver, you've got the first 8.
And see, that was back when it was still a quasi running game in the NFL. You could get 8 years out of a running back then. Now, with the passing game the way it is, dude, they run at a mill.
Right, because you've got young blood coming up every year. And you're not expecting them to carry the rock every play.
Nope.
So that's a very interesting deal, man.
Get back to your sticks. I'm sorry I got you off of
That's
that.
all right. Hey.
I'm sorry I got you off of that.
It's coronavirus time. So we can talk about whatever.
Yeah, bro.
But anyway, yeah, that Don Pepin was really good. And then I smoked a Oliva O.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the Oliva O.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is back before I knew Oliva, I actually gave one of those to a brand new cigar smoker.
Oh.
That's too strong
Because
of a
they
cigar.
are not ready for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that was that quality stick. And I really used to never smoke Oliva. I thought they were overrated. And I've come around to where I don't think that at all. I think they're a quality product.
Gotcha.
My favorite being in that line, the Melanio V.
Yeah.
But, I think across the board, price-wise, they make a good product.
Yes, they do.
And then the last cigar that I smoked was from Casa Cuevas.
Okay.
And that was a treat. Those guys. Now, this is something we didn't talk about on the interview, so I can talk about this now.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, but those are the guys, Casa Cuevas, that somebody broke into their warehouse last summer and busted a big hole in the back wall and took like 300 boxes of cigars.
Ocean's 11 type stuff.
And it was all their limited run series.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I want to say they only got I'm going to say maybe 2 boxes of cigars left out of that limited run.
But see, how could you see? Here's thinking as a cop.
Now, wait a minute. I want to tell you the details because I didn't go into this with him and I kicked myself afterwards. But here's the thing. They had cameras on the doorways. They had cameras in the hall. They had cameras at the front of the building, and they had one at the back of the building where the doors are. They didn't have cameras on the side of the building where the wall was because, you don't think someone's going to just bust a hole through the wall.
Yeah.
So I was talking to somebody else, and they were like, man, that sounds like it had to be an inside job. Somebody working at the factory, or not the factory, but the warehouse,
knows the schematics.
Or the security guard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the details were, but it's like, man, that sounds like a movie.
Yeah, it definitely does. There's somebody that knew the schematics, knew the layout, knew everything about it. And to blow a hole in one area that wasn't.
Now, I don't know how they made the hole.
Anyway, to get a hole in a wall in an area that was not, watched.
Right.
Continuously watched.
I'm curious as to how they did make the holes because, did they back a truck up into it? Because, if it's cement blocks.
Yeah. All you got to do is back a truck up and you bust a mortar and you got to open it.
Right. And then did they sledgehammer it or did they do, the movie style and they blow a hole with C4? So
people got to understand you can't play with C4 like you see it on the movies, baby.
Hey, so, and then you told me about another cigar robbery just like 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh, which one was that?
I don't know, but you were like, dude, it's getting rough for the cigar makers.
Yeah, I can't remember which one that was.
Because I was like, that's the second one I've heard of.
Man, which one was that? I've read so much stuff because I like the criminal side of everything. So, you love the news and everything else. I'm trying to find out where the sinister stuff is going on with it. I can't remember which one it was. Oh, now you got me thinking.
I don't remember. I just remember you telling me about it. In fact, after you left the herf last night,
forgive me.
I brought that up, and Nick even remembered, but he didn't know who it was. So, hey, and let's give a shout out right quick to the Cigar Pulpit and the Good Cigar. Both of those are good friends of ours.
Most definitely.
Great podcast. Al does video as well. So if you guys haven't, you got time. You're not doing anything. So go by and check out the Good Cigar and then check out the Cigar Pulpit.
Yes, sir.
Good guys. A little bit different format than what we do, but it's all good content, and I love those guys.
Most definitely,
pass that along to you as well,
because those are the type of guys that we are. They love the industry, they love everything about it, man, and their way of speaking on it, it's just it brings a different mindset. And with all of us together, you get different mindsets of what's going on, what we see, what we're talking about. It's just like being in a brick and mortar, sitting down there in the lounge talking.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's the way it was last night, man. It really was. Trying out how me and Nick's lives are so close.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That blew my mind when I found out he went to Carbondale too. I was like, what? And almost at the same time, I'm like, ooh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Man, it's just crazy, man.
I figured he was way younger than you. No? How old is Nick?
He's, oh God, now you're trying to make me think.
I thought he was like
40.
10. No, I thought he was probably like 30 to 35.
I don't think, nah.
And you just had a birthday, so you're 54.
No, I'm not.
53?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I want that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I want that.
Eventually,
but
yeah.
but not right now. Yeah, I want that. I want to make it a triple digit.
Right?
I tell folks that I want to be triple digits. My great grandmother made it to 99.
I don't want to be triple.
I do.
I
want to
don't.
make it to triple digits. I got plastic and titanium knees now. I can still walk.
You know what? I got future plans on the other side.
Me too.
So I don't care nothing about
Glorious
triple.
future
Yeah,
plans.
I don't care nothing about triple digits.
I want to see my great grandchildren.
All I know is, in the afterlife, I can't imagine how awesome the cigars are going to be.
Everything.
You know what I mean?
Everything. My sons came up from Copper's Cove, Killeen, because the oldest daughter's birthday was Thursday, and we were sitting there talking, and one of them said, "Man, what if you get to heaven and they give you an old rusty halo?" I said, you know what? I don't care. As long as I get a halo. But I thought he said, yeah, what if they reach in a bucket and just pull out an old rusty one somebody else used?
As long as they're not handing me a pitchfork, I'll be all right.
Ooh, sing it.
You know what I mean?
But I said that, me and my visuals, I was like, St. Peter reaching in a bucket, pulling out. I was like, you know what? I'll take it.
Right?
I'll take it, man. But that just blew me away. He said, what if they give you an old rusty halo?
All right, so we're to a new segment of the show.
Yes, sir.
It's the joke of the week. Oh. And so each week, I'm going to write, or Bryant's going to write a joke. It's going to be original, so you can say what you will. And don't even worry, it's not that joke, okay. Bryant. I'm not doing that joke on the show. Because, sometimes my mind is a little twisted. It's not for everyone. But this joke is actually for Viking.
Okay,
because we talked about this last night. The DNA testing app called 23andMe?
Yes, sir.
Have you done it?
No, sir, I haven't.
Okay, see, I love it because I found out that I'm Irish, 81%.
Okay.
I didn't know that. And it also says that I'm like 70-something% Neanderthal. That's a shocker, right? So
I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Yeah. So, but here's the cool thing is it shows you your family tree going back because other people who have connected that are related to you that you don't even know.
That's true.
I mean, I have tons of relatives here in Texas that I didn't even know were my relatives, but now they are like second cousins, third cousins.
Further down the line.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's pretty interesting to see. In the app, you can actually reach out and talk to these people.
Okay.
And so Viking from Arkansas, what I found out in Arkansas, they use the 23andMe app as a dating app. So anyway, that's the joke of the week.
I'm done, man.
Hey, guys.
You're going to get us put off.
Hey, it's all in fun, Viking.
1 week joke of the week. No more.
First and last week. So, anyway, guys, we got Lewis coming up next from Casa Cuevas. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hey guys, thanks for hanging through the break. We have a special guest with us today. Can't wait for you guys to meet him. We have Lewis from Casa Cuevas Cigar Line, and he's been there. He's fourth generation. I mean, they've been in the business for a super long time. We're super excited to have him. How are you doing today, Lewis?
I'm doing very well, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, it's our honor. Thank you for coming on the show. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. And so anyway, let's kind of go back over the history of how Casa Cuevas got started.
Well, the brand itself, we hit our third year, April 1st, during this wonderful COVID-19 time. But the brand itself has only been around for 3 years. The factory since the 80s. My dad and my uncle started the factory back in the mid-80s. My father and my uncle had both grown up in tobacco because my great-grandfather and grandfather were both tobacco growers. And we left Cuba around 1970. And my dad reinvented himself here in the States. He started an air conditioning company, did very, very well with it. And my uncle, who came maybe about 5 or 6 years later, in 1978, 79, when he came, he tells my father, we should try to do what Grandpa did My grandfather did back in Cuba. So goes to Dominican Republic. My dad helps finance that. And I remember during the summers I was in high school, I would spend my summers with my uncle in and around a tobacco factory, a cigar factory. And eventually when the boom finally came in 1996, 97, my father then went all in over there to the Dominican Republic. The company here gave it to his business partner and then just went over there. And, they were very successful during that boom. And then at one point back 2008, 2007, my dad and my uncle went their separate ways. My dad was waiting around with a tiny little factory, kind of waiting for his investment to come back. And it did. And I flew out over there in 2009 and I said, if you're going to shut this down, it's a shame. I'm an only child. I think it'd be really, really cool if we kept this going.
Yeah.
So he goes, okay, I think we should. So I had my nest egg in my savings. That was my buy-in because my father is a through and through businessman. I mean, we even signed papers on this, and I am an only child. This stuff's mine anyway, but, he likes to think you need to have skin in the game. So
yeah, I'm not just handing the keys over to my brand new car over to some kid.
That's it. So I got in. My wife and I, she was still working, but I lived essentially off our savings for 2 years before we were able to land some pretty significant customers to produce cigars for. And then now here we are. And I hadn't launched anything prior to 2016 because I didn't know how. Making cigars is so much easier than selling cigars as a brand owner. Making cigars, I want to make Rob's cigars, and we're going to make Cigar Talk cigars. So you come over to the factory, we spend a week, we blend, and then you have your bands made, you have your boxes made, we agree on a price, I pack the stuff, I ship it to you, and now it's yours. So the manufacturing aspect of it is very cut and dry, very simple.
So if I'm the buyer, it's a cookie cutter deal. But when you're producing cigars on your own, totally different. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, when you're producing cigars on your own, now they land in the States, and now I've got to sit there and tell Mr. Shopkeeper, hey, I know your humidor is packed, but here's a new brand I want you to carry. And the guy's going to sit there and say, I never heard of you. So
that's tough.
That's really tough. It's been a long haul. I'm enjoying it. We've grown every year. This year it is what it is, right? But the last 2 years there was substantial growth, but I'm still essentially every penny that I've made off of my sales of my brand, I pour back into the brand.
Absolutely.
So what supports me right now is still the factory. The factory is still what provides my income, right?
Because you're still making cigars for other cigar companies. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, without the factory, I couldn't do it. If I had to live off of the brand itself right now, I don't see how I could do it and still expend the monies on travel and advertising and going to the the PCA, whatever you want to call it, having a booth. And I mean, there's a lot of money that's expended, not to mention the boxes and the bands. Because the price of the cigars, you can sit there and arguably say, because I have the factory, I get it essentially at cost.
Right.
And literally I do, right? But it is a business transaction. So I want my factories to still make money off of the brand. So literally I buy the cigars from the factory. And so I make a profit on that end. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it makes more sense.
Oh, no, I completely get it. That's the way it works.
Yeah, that's the way it works. And so then on this end, we put forth the product, but it's a lot of traveling, a lot of getting to know people, and a lot of shop owners taking a chance on you and saying, okay, I'm going to take my hard-earned money. I'm going to buy your no-name brand, and I'm going to put it in my humidor and trusting that it will sell. So that's tough. It's really, really, really hard.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
It really is because, I mean, everybody that is even a basic cigar enthusiast understands the fact that the real estate space inside of a humidor is very competitive. I mean, there's so many people fighting for that space on the shelf that it just makes it a very competitive market.
It does. And, what a lot of shop owners don't want to do, and I get it because they don't have the time for it and they don't, to go that extra mile is if the cigar is sitting now in their shop, and it's now in their humidor. The idea of every time somebody walks in, for them to follow that customer and say, hey, by the way, I want you to try this. I want you to try this. I want you to try this. That becomes very tedious. And you need to support these shop owners that are supporting you by saying, okay, I've got a broker in that territory. And as soon as you bring me in, that broker is going to go to your shop and do a cut and light. That broker is going to work your humidor and get the cigars into people's hands and have them fall in love with the brand. Now, at that point, let's be clear. If the cigars are not good cigars, if the cigars are not well liked, that individual may buy it once and never buy it again. So they got to stand on their own. But still, how do you make that consumer spend the money on something they've never seen before? They're not familiar with.
That's a really good point too. I hadn't thought of is whenever a cigar shop brings in a new brand, that creates work on their end, because now I have to educate the consumer about the cigar, where otherwise they already know, my regular customers already know all the cigars in my humidor. But if I bring in something new, now I have to educate every single one of them if I want that line to be successful. That's
a huge chore. So how do we help them? How do I help them? By saying, okay, I'm going to give you support because in this territory, there is an individual, there's a young man, there's a young lady who actually is going to come in and work your humidor for you and do a cut light, do an event. And I'm always on a plane, no matter how small that shop is. They say, okay, listen, if it's going well, can you do an event with us in 2 months? I look at my calendar. If the answer is yes, then yes. And I fly out there and I meet the patrons and I get to know them. And then I also talk about whatever they want to talk about, tobacco, the history of it, the brand, what we're doing right now, and get to know people. So I give them support as well. I know a lot of brand owners perhaps are much busier than I am. I don't know. But I don't like to sit there and say, I'm only going to fly out to meet you if you order X amount, or I'm
sure
too special to go out and do a small event on a Saturday night when you're only going to have 20, 30 people. No, I don't function that way. I live on a plane. I'll go over there and I'll meet your 20, 30 people. And that's great, because that turns into those 20, 30 people, hopefully getting to know the brand owner, and they go, okay, now they can attach a face and a story to that cigar, and maybe they'll be buying more in the future. So everything for me is a calculated investment, and I really do enjoy meeting people.
Well, I was going to say this too, Louis. I was going to say this. You started your own cigar line 3 years ago. You told me earlier you're 53, so you didn't just decide to start a cigar line for the fun of it. You decided because this was your passion. So, I mean, for me as a cigar enthusiast, that I love the cigar industry. And for me, if you're starting a cigar line at the age of 50, it's because you want to go all in. I mean, you know, this wasn't just a pipe dream for when you were 15. This is something that you've been in the business. You've seen how it works. And now it's like, okay, I want to do my own line. And you know very well what it takes to make it successful. So you wouldn't just jump in unless you were willing to do all the extra work as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we could have easily just retained the factory and not incurred all the costs that I'm expending now on running the line, because some capital had to be taken from my factory in order to make this go. Because the line, again, alone on its own simply doesn't even support, the stuff that we've done across. So, we bought a warehouse last year, which is ours, and we moved into it. We have a distribution center within that warehouse. Well, when we started, it was a little tiny type office in the cigars where everything was all enclosed into one. We went to the PCA last year, or the IPCPR, or whatever you want to call it. Last year, we had a 600 square foot booth. That cost a lot of money. It was a standalone. It was beautiful. Well, that was a huge investment. And again, if I look at all the money that I've expended on the line, the tobacco, the travel, the boxes, the bands, the advertising and magazines, we retained a public relations firm as well. Yeah, I'm in it to win it. And I could have just easily said, the hell with it. We're not going to do a brand ever. We'll just be a factory. And that's okay. And I'd probably be richer for it now.
Right.
But I'm glad I didn't do that. I also launched a brand with my name on it because I wanted to be sort of like a legacy to my dad and my grandfather and my great grandfather. So that's why my name is on there as well. Right?
Yeah, because as we were talking before, your great grandfather is the one who actually started in the tobacco industry.
That is correct. He's
and you said he came from Spain, right?
Yep, the northern part of Spain, Asturias, Spain. That's, if geographically speaking, that's the northernmost part. It's essentially the part that didn't get conquered by the Moors, and the Moors held half of Spain. That's why folks from that part of Spain are usually have light eyes, very fair skin, that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
The Moors, yeah. There was a king. I'm going all over the place on this, so you want to hear about it? I'm already in it. Might as well tell you. There was a king named King Pelaus, and what he did was, Pelayo is his name. That king didn't permit the Moors to go into the northern part of Spain. So when Ferdinand and Isabella finally expelled the Moors from Spain, and Spain became one again, the Moors had never been in that part, and they had been in Spain for nearly 400 years. Wow. Tremendous architecture. I mean, the stuff that they did was phenomenal. But in any event, that's how it worked out. So that's the part where my grandfather came from. So he went from this climate that really doesn't look anything like tropical Cuba. It gets really cold up there, to tropical Cuba, wound up in the tippy-most part of the westernmost part of the island, and just fell into tobacco. Literally just fell into it. It isn't like he came with tobacco knowledge from Spain.
Right.
He just went there and yeah.
So
and
what was the reason of going to Cuba for your great grandfather? Do you know that history?
You know what? I was thinking about that right now. I know there was political strife in Spain at the time when he left, and there was some semblance of a civil war going on, and his parents put him on a ship. The ship was called the Havana, by the way, of all things. And they sewed some money into his shirt. He was 15, 16 years old. I think 13. I think he was 13 years old. And they sent him away.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow.
We've been back to that part of Spain, and we found the birth certificates and whatnot at the City Hall of Cangas in Spain. It's actually pretty cool. And birth certificates, what it says is essentially that they were laborers. You know, they put your job title, whatever you did.
Oh, really?
So they were they were farm workers.
Wow.
That's what they were, and that's what he became. So it made sense that he would fall into essentially another type of crop that wasn't what he was working with up there, but it's still a crop. So he's a farmer.
Sure.
So now he's farming tobacco. Yeah.
So then your granddad and your father were in Cuba. You were born in Cuba. And so you said it was about 1970-ish when y'all came to Florida, the United States?
Yeah. My dad left in 1968. He had been a political prisoner, so he goes to Spain. And he leaves my mom and myself behind. That's the way he had to do it.
Right.
And then he was able to claim us 2 years later through Spain.
Oh, okay.
So I lived in Spain for almost 9 months. And so I left Cuba in 1970, went to Spain, lived there almost a year. My dad had been there almost 3 at that point. And in 1971, we landed in Miami, Florida.
Wow. And you've been in Florida ever since?
Ever since.
Wow.
Ever since. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's very interesting. So let's talk about the cigar line that you created, Casa Cuevas. How did you come up with the line? I mean, who's blending your cigars? Are you actually a blender as well?
Yeah, I mean, we blended it together. It was my father and myself. And the line, I did research on the principal sizes and wrappers that sold best within the United States. So Maduro, a Connecticut, and an Habano seemed to be the way to go. And the sizes that I chose, which was a Robusto 5x52, a Toro 6x50, and a Gordo 6x60, because those, again, were the 3 most popular sizes that sold in the States. So that was the game plan. And then the blending became a process of figuring out what we liked, at the same time being aware that you can't just blend for yourself. And it's a little bit of a hit and miss, because my cigars have been successful, but not everybody likes them, and I get that. but there's a big difference, I think, if you're a cigar smoker, and I urge anybody listening to the show to just be a little more forgiving. Because you don't like a cigar doesn't make it a bad cigar. It just makes it a cigar you don't like. We were talking about, having a scotch earlier, you and I, and, I don't like peaty scotches. I don't like Lafroig, for example. I just don't like the peat. It's too smoky for me. Does that make it a bad scotch? Hell no. It's a very expensive scotch.
Right. It's just not for you.
Single malt. It's just not for me, so I tend to look at what you're blending and hoping that it'll be a home run, but it's not ever going to be something that's for everyone, and that's okay.
Well,
and that's okay.
And it's just like scotch. There's so many scotch that there's one for everyone, but at the same time, there's not one for everyone. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
So it's the same with cigars, and I'm going to bring up another brand. Last year, I really enjoyed the Alec Bradley Fine and Rare 2019. I'd never had one before, and I thought it was a beautiful cigar. And a good friend of mine, who's also been a co-host on the show, thought it was absolutely horrible. And so that tells you right there. And it's a $22 stick. It's not cheap. And that's Texas prices for everyone who's at home. But anyway, I thought it was a fantastic cigar. And one of my best buddies was like, I can't stand that stick. So, you're not going to make a home run for everybody across the board to love that stick.
No. And going back to what you were saying about the scotches and even the sticks, and I always say this, if you're out there and you're in love with the brand, even if it's mine, and that's all you smoke, you're missing out. You're missing out. You need to, I don't think any of us, I would think anyway, any of us drink the same beer all the time, or drink the same scotch all the time, or eat the same food all the time. You need variety. So if you're into scotches, I have a couple of scotches here at home, and guess what? They're not the same brand. Now, they may be the same flavor profile, but they're not the same brand. And I think if you are a cigar lover and you have your humidor at home, you should stock it with different brands. And, now you're in the mood for a Connecticut, and it could be my Connecticut in the morning. And you're saying, this goes really well with a cup of coffee. And later on, you're going to have, I don't know, an Espinosa Oscuro after you have a heavy lunch. I don't know, just to throw a name out there. But a lot of times I see consumers who just fall in love with just one brand. That's all they smoke. I think that's such a mistake.
Oh,
I
really
can't
do. I can't do it myself. I'm all over the place because I enjoy so many different blends. I like light cigars. I like medium cigars. I like medium plus. I like full body. And it just, for me, it's my mood. It depends on what I'm going to pair it with, what time of day it is. So I'm with you 100%. There's a lot of brands that I really love because I think they make quality products every time. But at the same time, I'm all over the place because I really enjoy smoking different cigars.
Yeah, me too. And one of the advantages I have of being in the industry, and Miami is a hub for everybody here, right? So most cigar brand owners, for whatever reason, all live down here. So you get a lot of reps, and we have a lot of friends. And more often than not, when we run into each other, the first thing I'm doing is, give me something that you've got, right? Because I get bored of my own. Even when I travel with my with brokers that I have that represent my line, they have other lines. And as soon as I get to the airport and I hop in the car with them, it's like, okay, give me something else. Give me something else. And I'm dying to. That's one of the perks of going to the IPCPR or whatever you want to call it is, you get there, and because you're in the industry, then you run into the other owners, and I'm just dying to smoke their stuff and try their stuff and enjoy.
Yeah, you want that experience. Yeah, I mean, it's always an experience smoking something new. And so, if I smoke 10 new sticks and I fall in love with even 3 or 4 of them, I'm excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And it's like,
you got something else to go to.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I was going to ask you earlier, so is there a state tax in Florida?
No, there's not.
Okay, well, that's why all you guys live in Florida. I was going to say there's no state tax in Texas either, so we should move the cigar hub to Texas. But okay, you don't have a state tax.
We don't.
But you guys have Mark Rubio, so I know he's fighting for the tobacco industry, and we have Senator Cruz who's not fighting for the tobacco community, so I wouldn't move here either.
Yeah, I don't get Cruz's stance on that. But whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
we don't get real political on the show, but I will tell you this, and I've told everybody who listens before, I've sent Senator Cruz multiple emails about the tobacco industry, and I've never gotten a response at all. So, you know.
Oh, really?
Yes. And
that's not cool.
But I will tell you this. Now that I sent him an email, I get all his emails on what a great job he's doing with the coronavirus pandemic. So, and you know what's funny is I answer those emails and I go right back to the tobacco topic and I still never get a response. So, shows you where we are in Texas.
Yeah, but you know what? That kudos for you for even trying. That's great.
Hey,
that's
we're
great.
Big supporters of Cigar Rights of America, the PCA, and you know, this is a community that we all love and enjoy. And so if you are passionate about it, you should be taking part in fighting for your rights.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, Texas is
we do
known.
our part here too.
Yeah, and Texas is known as a state where we have a lot of freedom, you know, when it comes to guns and our freedom to be free. You know, we have lots and lots of people from California that move here because they get tired of the oppression that goes on there politically. And I'm like, hey, how can you fight for the freedoms of Texans if you're not going to support our right to smoke premium cigars? So I don't get it, but that's for another topic, another day.
I hear you though, but you're right. You're making sense.
So how are you guys dealing with the virus and the pandemic that's going on? How's it affected your factory and your cigar line?
Well, the factory is shut down. I mean, we're shut down now through the end of April, like we are here in the States for now. My father, who was able to finally come, he came here 2 days ago, was finally back in the States here because he was down in the Dominican trying to tend to business and doing all the things that needed to be done so that the employees, as they are sent home, are still able to get certain benefits, and there's monies involved and whatnot. So he was taking care of all that nonsense, but not nonsense, actually important matters. But the factory itself has been, it's closed down. We're not producing anything. We're not shipping anything. So we're feeling it over there, right? Because if I don't ship you cigars, I don't make any money. So I got to be able to ship cigars. And on my end here at the brand, well, shops are reluctant to order a whole lot right now. They're watching their dollars. I've gotten some orders here and there. Every week we've had a couple of orders. We've been able to take out some stuff, but it's not even close to the numbers we were running before. And, you know, when I talk to local shop owners here that I know, some of them are owned by a husband and wife team. Well, their revenue has gone down drastically. That's all they live off of. And they're afraid to sit there and invest buying, let's say, 12 boxes of something when just one box now, another box later is going to do. You follow?
Yeah.
And then on top of which, we were talking about this earlier, my inventory here is running really, really low. I mean, the Sledgehammer La Mandaria, which was our our preeminent release last year at the former PCA, I've got, I think, 4 boxes left of that. And one of my other lines, in my core line, the Habano Robusto, I've got 6 boxes left. I mean, I'm running really, really low on product in a lot of stuff. And when it runs out, if I can't get any more, then you know it's a dangerous situation. I don't turn away stores that ask for this stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I will run out probably before next week is out.
And this is in your factory's in a DR. And I read an article, I guess probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago, that said like 14 factories in the DR had closed. Is that about right, or is it even more than that?
It's more than that. They all closed. So
how is that going to affect the cigar industry, say, in 6 months to a year?
You know what? In our case, although we're not producing, there is a lot of product sitting in the humidors at the factory, so that I think as the orders come back in and we get back to normalcy, we'll be able to at least fulfill those existing orders, right? Because just because we're not producing currently doesn't mean we don't have stock to fulfill the orders. However, eventually, if there's too much of a demand, which I don't see us going completely back to normal with this, but if there's a great demand, all of a sudden there's an upswing, right? This V-shaped economy there that we're hoping for, then I think there's going to be a lag, and there's going to be some backorder stuff because, yeah, you can produce as quickly as you can, but you got to give them a little bit of time to sit.
Right.
You're going to get mush. You're going to get mush.
Yeah.
And
nobody wants to smoke cigars that haven't rested. So, I mean, exactly. And you may actually lose consumers in that process because now they're going and, I used to like these Cuevas cigars, but now lately they've just been crap. And then you move away from it. Then you don't go back to it. Right.
Because
so you got to be careful.
That's right. It's the money you've worked for, and you're taking that $10, $20 bill and you're lighting it on fire. That's what you're doing, right? So you got to be careful. So that's an interesting question. I think immediately, and I think most factories do have backstock, but eventually there'll be an issue. And the longer this goes, then the greater the issue, I think.
True. So, I mean, if we're back in business, say May 1st, then, really not a huge impact, but say we're another 2 months, 3 months, then we're looking at some, supply chain that's going to be affected probably for months. Yep.
And one of the things also, what you don't have backstock on is, and no one talks about this, I guess, is boxes. So, while the supply of cigars might be there, when people order boxes, they order a set amount. Now, you may have ordered, let's say, 200 boxes of whatever sizes for your line of each. And you may now be down to a certain amount and you are going to order more. Boxes take forever to make. So now what? Now you have the tobacco, the cigars, they're rolled, but you don't have the boxes. And that could create an even bigger lag than the cigars themselves because the box factories are shut down too.
Wow.
They're not functioning. The same thing with cigar bands. Our cigar bands are made in the Dominican Republic. Cigar Rings makes them. And they're working, I think, a little bit of skeleton crew. I'm not sure. I think that just a couple of people are manning their machines. I'm not completely sure. But again, I don't know to what level of speed they are. And I know the box factories are shut because if you go to the box factory that makes our boxes in the Dominican Republic, they're almost shoulder to shoulder. There's a lot of people working in there, and there's no way of running it with just a little skeleton crew. It's impossible.
Now, is the box factory also in the DR?
Yeah. It's in Tamboril. Yep. I like to keep things local over there because it just makes receiving and transporting the boxes themselves or the bands themselves, it makes it a lot smoother. It makes it a lot easier. So they're in a duty-free zone. The band makers in a duty-free zone as well, and we're in a duty-free zone. So it's a simple, you transfer over the goods. There's no taxes involved, and if anything should go wrong, you just send it right back, and it's right there. Whereas if the stuff is made overseas, let's say China or even in the U.S., now you're talking about shipping it back and forth. It's a little more difficult. It can create some issues. So we try to keep everything within the Dominican Republic. It's just easier to do business that way.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to keep everything local. Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. So do all your cigars or your complete line all have Dominican Republic tobaccos, or do you bring in some other tobaccos from other regions as well?
That's a good question. No, we blend. I mean, all of them have some Dominican tobacco in them, and some of them have a Dominican wrapper. Binder. We don't have access to Dominican wrapper, but we use tobaccos from Mexico, Peru, Colombia, Honduras, Nicaragua.
Wow.
Pennsylvania. We have a whole slew of different tobaccos that we use. It's like cooking. Think of it that way. And so there's a slew of ingredients that you're choosing from, and it just makes the blending process so much better. So going back to Scotch, we're not a single malt. We're definitely a blended Scotch.
Right.
Yeah, and I think a lot of most factories function that way. It just makes, I think, for a better cigar overall. There's just a variety of flavors that you can put in there and come out with something maybe a little novel. It also allows you to be more forgiving if a crop, let's say Nicaragua, is now not providing the ligero that we need at the moment that we need it. Well, we don't have enough of it, but you may be able to use some Pennsylvania to take the place of that Nicaragua, and they're similar enough in flavors so that you're still getting essentially the same blend, or very close to it. So you're not straying too far from it. It makes it easier. But if you're just married to one type of tobacco and that's all you have access to, or that's all that you're using in your line, then that really prevents you from getting creative, and it could really backfire in a very
yeah, because if your
way.
supply chain goes down, you're hosed.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it. Yep. Yes, sir.
Well,
yes, sir.
Let me just say thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us your story. Man, we wish you guys a lot of success. I really like what you're doing. I like the motivation. I like the entrepreneurship, and I love the dedication to quality. And so hats off, man. You guys sound like you're doing a great job, and I can't wait until all this pandemic is over so that we can do more with you guys.
Thank you. Absolutely. Look forward to it. Thank you for reaching out and giving me this opportunity. And I urge everyone out there, if you haven't tried Casa Cuevas, please do. Please do. I think it'll be part of your humidor. I really say that firmly. But in the end, listen to me. Please support your local shops. Keep them in mind. These folks, a lot of these folks are really going through really terrible, terrible times. They don't have the resources to withstand this blow. And, just be mindful of each other and be safe. Be safe.
Now, Luis, before we go, tell everybody where they can find Casa Cuevas on, say, social media, say Facebook, or social medias in Instagram or the webpage.
Sure. It's Casa Cuevas Cigars. At Casa Cuevas Cigars. Casa Cuevas Cigars will give you the Facebook access to it. CasaCuevasCigars.com is the webpage. Our cigars are in a lot of the major catalogs. Neptune's carries them, CI carries them, Thompson carries them, Famous carries them. So you can do that as well. But you'll have access to any of those. And please feel free to reach out through even my email it's simple enough. It's Luis, Luis at CasaCuevasCigars.com. Shoot me an email if you have any questions or just want to reach out. Just give us a chance if you haven't, please.
Absolutely. And we have friends over at another show called Dad's Smoking Cigars. Tim has just gone crazy about you guys' cigars. And so as soon as he was telling me about them, I was like, oh, well, let's get Luis on the show, because if Tim is all hot and heavy for your cigars, it must be a good cigar.
Thank you. Yeah, Tim's a great guy. Tim and Kyle are phenomenal. I was able to do their show when I was up in California following the last event that we did in early January, and they've been just nothing short of phenomenal in terms of supporting us. And I'll tell you what, they're supporting us because they truly like the cigars, which makes me feel good. It's not a charity case here. They're really enjoying them. And I was, because there was no COVID-19 at that time when we did that show. It was going to be all business, and here we are. But yeah, phenomenal guys. If you guys haven't checked them out, Dad's Smoking Cigars, great guys and really passionate about their cigars.
Yeah. And, I thought I was a major coffee snob because I love good coffee. And I was talking to Tim, and Tim apparently takes a coffee snob to the next level. I don't know if you know this, but yeah. I watched his video last week on coffee review, and the guy does French press coffee. So if you're going to the trouble to do French press, you're taking it up a notch.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. It was pretty impressive. But, well, hey, Luis, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope your family stays safe during all this pandemic. And if there's anything that we can do for you at any time, feel free to reach out, brother.
Rob, thank you so very much. What a pleasure. And you know what? Next time I'm in Texas, I look forward to actually meeting you, having a cigar with you, my friend.
Absolutely.
It'd be my pleasure.
Yes, I'd be honored. Well, take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, thanks for hanging through the break. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Luis. Man, what a great story.
Yes, sir. Life.
His grandfather, his great grandfather escaped Spain during the revolution and went to Cuba, and then his dad
Had to
escape
escape.
Cuba.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
That's life, man.
Yeah,
That's
really
life.
is. So, hey, speaking of life, this is kind of the lighter side of life.
Okay.
My son has bought a product that I didn't even know was a thing.
Okay. What's that?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. It's pajama jeans.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what I said. Huh? It's pajamas that look just like a pair of jeans. Like, if you see him walk by, you don't think anything of it. It just looks like he's wearing a pair of jeans. But it's really a pair of like sweatpants that they printed a pair of jeans on the outside. He came home, or he came by after work. He wore his pajama pants to work. And I gotta say this. I actually thought, well, that's genius. I can wear pajamas to work. And they're not cheap.
Now that makes it even worse.
$50.
No, not happening.
But
no,
think
sir.
about this. On a nice cold day,
Don't matter.
you go to work in a pair of pajamas.
Not happening.
I thought it was genius.
Not for $50.
No, well, I don't spend $50 on a pair of jeans.
Not happening.
I'm a $20 jean pair
Tell the
guy.
truth.
You know what I mean?
Tell the truth.
So anyway, I just thought I just never heard of that product, and I was like, who thinks of these things?
Yeah, that's going too far. For me. And then the price on it too.
Yeah,
Then
that
the
was
price
crazy.
on it. That's the topper.
Well, he told me he was going to buy like 5 more pairs.
Oh, Jesus.
Not all at one time.
Yeah, but even
But that way he could always wear his pajamas. Of course, he's 20.
okay.
So, anyway, hey, guys, it's that time of the show. It is time for the AJ giveaway.
Wait.
So, in order to register for our giveaways, you got to go by www.cigartalkpodcast.com, click on the register button, and all you got to do is give us your name and email address, and that puts you in our weekly drawings
Yes, sir.
for every week.
Yes, sir.
You don't
One
have-
time.
Yeah,
One
one
time.
time. It's one and done.
Yes, sir.
And so we draw every week, and then the I guess the rules is you send us notification by the following Sunday
Yes, sir.
at 6 p.m. Central, and in the subject line just put AJ winner, and then in the body of the email say I won, and then your name and your mailing address,
Yes.
and I'll get those shipped out to
Yes,
you
sir.
ASAP.
Yes, sir.
So this week's winner is Benny Nance.
Okay, how you spell Benny?
Bennie.
Okay.
And the last name is Nance, Nace. And just so we know that we have the same person, your email address contains KKY.
Okay.
Which I'm guessing is some Kentucky abbreviation.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, congratulations, Benny. Send us that email. We'll get your
Yes.
cigar sent out to you. And if
Yes.
you're not registered, make sure you go by, fill
Come
it
on,
out.
y'all. It's easy. And it's free.
Yes. So one of the things we were talking about last night on the herf is, do you think that there's going to be a football season?
It's hard to tell now.
It really is, man.
It really is. Because it's getting to the draft is getting ready to come up next week. We know after that, spring training, or whatever you want to call it, is going to be affected. So if they don't have a full opportunity for the off-season conditioning and everything, what kind of product are they going to put out there on the field?
Well, you know what I'm thinking here in this, if I was in charge, which I'm not, but if I was in charge, what I would do is shorten the season instead of doing a 16-game season.
Well, it's supposed to be 17 this year, ain't it?
I don't know.
So I know it's supposed to be going to 17 games.
Okay, well, regardless, I would make it probably like a 9-game season, which is super short, or maybe even an 8-game season. And then, because then you play each team in your division twice and then 2 other teams. And that way we have preseason starting in like September, and then they actually start playing the regular season at the end of October or middle of October. Because if they can't do it the way they normally do it, I don't think they still have to cancel the season.
Yeah.
I mean, they could still pull off some, resemblance of a season.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Where's
necessary.
the Super Bowl supposed to be at for this year?
I have no idea.
Because if it's in a warm climate, like say Miami or somewhere like that, you can delay the season. You can delay the season and still do your full season because your Super Bowl is going to be in a warm climate. Now versus a cold climate, no, you don't want going somewhere January, February, March in a cold climate because you know you're not going to have that great of I don't see it be, even if it's indoors. You know, you're thinking about the fans coming in,
right?
So if it's in a warm climate.
But here's the thing, due to circumstances outside their control, they could always change locations.
Oh, that's true, too. That's definitely true. But don't they have contracts, though?
Well, right. But, I mean, there's got to be some clause that says, you know, in case there's a world pandemic.
You know, any unnatural occurrence, because like with it being in down there in New Orleans, if a hurricane comes through,
right,
you can't have the game there. You got to schedule it somewhere
there's got to be some clause in there where they can change it and be like, hey, we'll come back to you next year. Sorry, Chicago.
Or never in Chicago. I'm sorry. It's just that's just like it was when it was in St. Louis. You'll never see it in St. Louis because that's the time when we have all the snow, all the cold, and it's not going to happen.
You don't do New England. You don't do Green Bay.
New York.
And you don't do Chicago.
St. Louis, none of them. Minnesota.
Really, the perfect location is Dallas. No,
God.
I mean, and I'm not just saying for the Cowboys because I mean I don't even care because the Cowboys are never going to be there. So,
I keep forgetting you don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Oh, I don't drink the Kool-Aid. So
you love your Cowboys, but you don't drink the Kool-Aid.
I love the team.
Yeah,
I don't love the organization. Let me put it to you that way.
I understand that. I totally understand what you're saying because I was that way with the 49ers for a while.
Well, you know, I was talking to a guy earlier from the Raiders, and he was like, yeah, well, at least we don't have Jerry Jones. And I said, yeah, not anymore because Al Davis died.
Yeah, you had the original.
I mean, but Al Davis and Jerry Jones were pretty much cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, Al Davis was a pimp though, boy.
Yeah,
because he pimped the NFL a few times, man. He backhand smacked him a few times. It's like, this is what I'm gonna do, and you can't stop me. And he was like, well, we hadn't watch.
Right. And you know what, Jerry Jones same way.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think that like the Cowboy Stadium is a great stadium to have a Super Bowl. And also, I mean, don't forget the new stadium over there in Nevada if it's finished.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, well, as we heard last night, it's almost 75% finished now.
Right. So that would be a great location.
And any one of the ones in California.
True. But
those are two new ones.
Right. But, yeah, and I haven't seen pictures of that one.
Me neither.
Junior was talking
Raiders
about those. Stadium
it's supposed to be
amazing.
The baddest thing out there, man. Is it true? We got to find out. Is it true that they said that they roll the field out when they're not playing?
I heard that, but I don't know if that's true.
Because that would be bad.
Well, you know, that's what they do at the Sun Devil Stadium in Arizona.
They do?
Yeah. That's where that started.
To keep that sun.
They keep it out because
it's natural turf.
And then they bring it inside. So that's pretty amazing.
That is.
A lot of money there.
Too much.
So anyway, let's talk just a minute about air purification.
Yes, sir.
You guys, you know, I was talking to the guys over at the Burn Down podcast, and we were talking about air purification, and they were like, well, we don't really have any. We just open the windows. And I was like, well, in Texas, we don't have that option in the middle of July because you'd roast.
Yes, sir.
And anyway, I was telling him, I was like, dude, one-on-one, podcaster to podcaster, I'm telling you, it's the best air purification system on the market. I have friends that have the Rabbit, and they no longer use the Rabbit. They use Medify.
Yeah.
And so if you're interested in really good air purification, we've been smoking in here for over an hour, both of us, and it's clear in here.
Yes, sir.
And let me tell you, go by our website. The 4th or 5th link down says air purification. You go in there, click the links. It takes you to Medify. You use the code Medify Smoker, and they'll give you 10% off. And so it's one of those products. It's, you know, when I was talking to that guy earlier, he said, I just came across some McAuliffe's and I just smoked the Medallia, and you were not lying. That is a great stick. And I said, yeah, it's funny because a lot of people think that because they're our sponsors, I promote their stick. But even if they weren't, it's still my go-to. Yeah. I love that stick. And he said, I've listened to your show long enough. I know you don't BS.
Yeah, you're going to tell the truth.
And so it's the same thing with the Medify. I'm not just saying that because I want you to buy one. I'm just saying, if you want quality air in your smoking lounge or wherever you smoke, you got to have one.
You want it cleared the correct way, in a way that these other, apparatuses don't do, because it has that, what is it, that medical HEPA filter in
Yeah,
there?
the H13.
H13 that clears smoke.
And you know what else is awesome? We've had that in here since December.
Yep, since December.
I have not changed the filter.
And it's still keeping it clean in
Dude,
here. Still keeping it clean.
and so most of the other, like the Honeywell that we had, I had to change that filter out every 30 days, and it didn't do a good job.
Nothing.
And that one, the win up there, I was very disappointed in the effects. I mean, it was hard to tell that it was even doing anything.
You could hear it.
Yeah, you could hear it. And then you saw the filter I had on it. In 30 days, it was dark.
Yeah.
It was ugly. So I'm super stoked about the Medify. I'm so happy we have one here in the studio.
Yeah, me too.
So if you guys need any kind of air purification, that's your go-to.
Yes, sir.
Or it should be.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, I guess that's going to wrap it up till next week. Who do we have? Oh, we have the guys from Burn Down.
Yes, sir. Burn
going to
Down.
be on the show next week.
Yes, sir.
Had a great visit with those guys, and looking forward to interacting with them on a regular basis. But they got a really interesting story. I didn't realize they're both from New York. I thought they were in Florida. Because, they're two pretty boys.
Yeah.
They're not like us.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
Hey, we ain't no pretty boys. So anyway, we'll have them on next week. And then the following week, we're going to have Will Cooper, which is, he does the Cigar Coop. Great interview with him as well. So we've got some good shows lined up for you guys. So don't miss them.
Stay with us.
And while we're all, kind of cooped up, make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you're taking care of your family.
Yes.
Cigars are great. Enjoy them when you can. We're having a herf virtually at least once a week, and maybe more, but follow us on Instagram or Facebook to find out about those if you want to hang out. Oh, and then one more thing, starting next month, and it's already past the cutoff date, but we're doing the cigar subscription.
Yes,
it's
sir.
called the Show Pack.
Show Pack.
So the Show Pack is going to be 4 cigars a month. It's $35, and that's in shipping included. And you'll get the same 4-6 that we're going to be smoking on the show.
Yes, sir.
And then once a month, even after the pandemic's over, we're going to have a virtual herf with all our members so that we can talk about those cigars.
To talk about them.
And check this out. I don't even think you know this part. So every month that you get your cigars, there's going to be Cigar Talk stickers in there. Now, after 3 months, you get a Cigar Talk poker chip. After 1 year, you get a Cigar Talk metal medallion, the challenge coin.
Yes, sir.
So you guys sign up so you can hang out and smoke with us, and we're going to talk about them, and we're just going to build a really great community. We want you to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy time together and have that commonality, smoking the same sticks, great conversation. Cigar Talk, baby.
Hell yeah. Hey, man, you guys have a great week. Until next time.
Smoking.